And there's no better time to be joined live by Mayor Sheng Thao. Mayor, let's start off where we just left off, the Oakland teachers strike. Teachers are telling their students they may not see them for the rest of the year. Meanwhile, parents are just scrambling to find care for their kids. Now, we know this is an issue between the teachers union and the district, but what can the city do to support both sides of all this?
Absolutely. Putting our kids first is going to be key. And I am in support of making sure that our teachers are getting compensated fairly. And when we talk about teachers, also the administration as well, too, right? They support the teachers that are on campus with our children. I am still very hopeful that both sides will come back to the table to really make an agreement. We all know that, our kids deserve nothing short of a great education. And so from the city side, I will continue to talk to OEA and also continue to have conversations with the city administration superintendent.
And Mayor, you recently submitted your budget to the city and included a hiring freeze and balancing of that budget. From a financial standpoint, what is the biggest challenge facing the city of Oakland?
Well, the biggest challenge facing the city of Oakland is, quite honestly, this is the largest fiscal gap that we have seen, even worse than the 2008 Great Recession. This is a huge gap where we have never seen anything like this in the city. However, the way that my team tackle this is through values. The values in making sure we invest in affordable housing, and values in making sure we invest in families and our young people and our infrastructure as well. And so I am very pleased with being able to close that gap without threatening any layoffs, as we know that it is our city workers who deliver services to bring a stronger quality of life to all Oaklanders.
Yeah, speaking of city services, though, Mayor, Oakland now without both a police chief and soon a fire chief after Chief Reginald Freeman announced his resignation yesterday. How does this announcement factor into your overall budget proposal and view of the city?
Absolutely. It was already a known information that Chief Regimen is going to retire this year. And so we are so sad to be losing the chief. Chief Freeman and I have really had a great relationship and have a great relationship. He's terrific. He wants to move closer to family on the East Coast. And not just that, but as he's retiring, he will be going into the private sector. And so I wish nothing but the best for the chief. He has done great work here in the city of Oakland, including with really uplifting diversity in the fire department as well, too.
And Mayor, as you know, and you already commented on this week, sideshows have grown more than just young people just gathering. Recently, there was video showing an OPD officer getting surrounded after driving through a sideshow. So what can the city actually do about these types of stunts?
Absolutely. And to your point, I will not send my officers, one officer in or two or three or five into a group where there's hundreds of people possibly with guns. And so with that being said, my budget actually invests millions of dollars into ensuring environmental designs. We have to deter the sideshows from happening. And so it's on top of the sting operations that I'm working on with the sheriff's department. But on top of that, we have to actually implement, the environmental designs, the hard concrete environmental designs, so that it is not so friendly and not so easily to allow for attraction of sideshows. And so I'm glad that under this budget that I have just proposed, that we have millions of dollars invested into that.
Yeah, Mayor Thao, I want to talk a little bit about homelessness. I know this has been a top concern for you and other previous administrations in the city of Oakland. You're in the final stages of removing that Wood Street encampment, but you also announced that you're eliminating that homelessness administrator position, instead allocating that to 2 lower-level positions. I'm curious what your thought process is on that and what this means with how the city is responding to homelessness.
Sure, absolutely. So it's been very difficult for many years now to actually fill that position. So breaking that position into 2 positions will obviously allow for more services to be had, but not just that, it allows for more coordination within the city too. As many people know and can understand that when we clear an encampment, there's so many different departments that come into play, whether it be OPD or Public Works, and working with the county, working with nonprofits. And so we need to have these positions in order to be effective. And so what we have learned, and remember, Wood Street was the largest encampment in the city of Oakland. And we are right now, we have actually cleaned up and cleared the encampment completely, where every single resident has now been offered and or given shelter somewhere else, safe shelter, dignified shelter. And so there is a recipe that works to this. And so this is part of that. This is part of that, is to make sure that we're more effective and more efficient with the dollars that we have, because we only have minimal dollars.
Well, Mayor Thao, thank you for joining us. As your city is facing a lot of challenges, hopefully finding some of those solutions. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you for having me.